Hello everyone, my name is Ed Figueroa and we're the Rivers of Living Water Ministry. I want to thank you for coming back. Today's discussion teaching will be called the One Shot. I know we had talked about the Holy Spirit in action. We're kind of taking a break from that and we're going to look at the anointing that God has given us, and that we want people to understand that when God gives you the anointing, He's calling you to a purpose. He's calling you to His goal. And I entitled this message or teaching, One Shot. And the reason why I say that is because if you look in Hebrews chapter 11, now I'm just going to read just a few minutes and give you a perspective of why I say one shot. It says here, verse 17, or verse 16, but now they desire a better country, that is a heavenly, wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God, for He had prepared for them a city. By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he had received the promises, offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said, that in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Verse 19, accounting that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. Verse 20, by faith Isaac had blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. 21, by faith Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both sons of Joseph, and worshiped, leaning upon the top of the staff. Verse 22, by faith Joseph, when he died, made mention of departing of the children of Israel, and gave commandments concerning his bones. Verse 23, by faith Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents, because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandments. Verse 24, by faith Moses, when he was to come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer afflictions with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompenses of the reward. 27, by faith forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who was invisible. 28, through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. And it goes on and on and on. These men and women in Hebrews 11 is considered the hall of faith. They had one shot to perform whatever it is that God wanted them to accomplish. And this is the same, if you will, purpose that God has in your life. It's a one shot where you accomplish whatever God has called you to. You only have one opportunity, and you need to take it to heart, because these men and the rest of the people in the Hall of Faith accomplished that one-time opportunity to accomplish whatever God wanted to be fulfilled, and that was His will. Now, I'm going to back up and give you a perspective here on all the way back in 1 Samuel, where Saul had that one shot, or that one-time opportunity, and he failed. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. There's others like Simon in Acts 8, Simon in Acts chapter 8, verse 9 through 18. And of course, there's Moses in the Promised Land, Numbers 20, 7 to 12, when he struck the rock twice, and God chastised him, said that him and the congregation, he's talking to Aaron and Moses, and the congregation would not enter into the Promised Land because God, or Moses, struck the rock twice instead of once. It was a disobedient. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But I want to focus on 1 Samuel chapter 15, verses 11 to 23. And I want to just share a little thought here before we begin. In the context of one shot, the most basic understanding is the following definition. It is an attempt, which is an effort to do something or an act of trying to do something. It is an opportunity to do something for God. In this particular case, referring back to 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1, if we look at it, we see that God has chosen Saul to be anointed, anointed king of Israel. And as we read that verse, as soon as I turn to it, it says here, Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Now here's Samuel the prophet telling Saul, look, you've been anointed as the king of Israel. And let me just say this, there's a lot of responsibility that are given to people that God trusts. I'm going to say that again. There's a lot of responsibility that God has given to the people he trusts to accomplish his will. And there's only one opportunity to do that, because if you look at some of the pastors, which I won't name, they had that one opportunity and they're no longer pastors. Yes, they're trying to regroup and do something for God, but it's not like it used to be. They fell from grace, if I could use that word. They're no longer, if you will, operating in the fullness, which is the best word to use, of what God intended them to do, because of issues in their life that they did not take care of. Okay? So let me read a little bit. It says there, verse 2, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, and how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man, women, infant, sucklings, ox, sheep, camel, and donkeys. Verse 4. Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telem, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. Verse 5. As Saul came to the city of Amalek and laid waste into the valley. Verse 6. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For ye showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. Verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. Verse 8. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. Verse 9. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, of the oxen, of the fatlings, and the lamba, and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile, refuge, they destroyed utterly. Verse 10. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repented me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he has turned back from following me, and hath not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night. Verse 12. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel anything. Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place, and is gone about and passed on and gone down to Gilgal. Verse 13. Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandments of the Lord. And verse 14. And Samuel said, What meaneth this bleating of sheep in my ears, and the following of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, They have brought them out of the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord, and the rest we have utterly destroyed. Verse 16. Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And verse 17, Samuel said, When thou wast little in thy own sight, was not made the head of the tribes of Israel, and the Lord anointed thee king over Israel. And verse 18, And the Lord sent thee on to a journey, and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Verse 19, Wherefore didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but did fly upon the spoil, and didst evil in the sight of the Lord. Verse 20, And Saul said unto Samuel, Yes, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and brought Agag, the king of Amalekite, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. 21, But the people took the spoil, sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, the sacrifice of the Lord thy God in Gilgal. And Samuel said, Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of ram. Now I want to take a look at verse 23. For rebellion, this is what Saul was. Okay, for rebellion is as sin of the witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he had also rejected thee from being king. Now we're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back